Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday. It's June 11th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And really, it ended up being a trading range today. We had a nice continuation of yesterday's rally early on, and then it backed up, and we found support around the 2106.50 area or so, and then pretty much the rest of the day we found resistance around 2111, 2112 kind of area, I would say. So in the end, it was just a range day, and we had a nice trend up, trend down, trend back up, trend down, and another trend back up. Of course, this was too late in the day yet. I don't have anything. This was a pretty nice bounce here, but by this time, it's pretty obvious what's going on, and people recognize that this is a range, and a lot more people are apt to buy once they see a bounce there a couple of times. So um, it is rollover time. I haven't rolled over yet. Um, I won't roll over until um, we get enough volume in the. I've got my chart open, but you can see there's not any volume yet. This is the September contract, and you can see the number of candles and the volume today there versus um, the June contract. So most of your volume still in the June contract. Probably change over tomorrow or Monday. So we'll just see how it looks tomorrow. If the volume switched over tomorrow, we'll change tomorrow. If not, we'll wait till probably Monday before we change over. So, but you can see the range there. I was really hoping we'd get a higher bounce here and make another measured leg up, but there were a few opportunities to get in, trying to catch that and still make money. And you should be done by noon if you start early enough to catch these first couple of moves, because these were nice moves and they were all had runners with them. So um, some pretty good trades. And there's actually a possibility. Um, there's a failed second entry long here, but it's so far away from the EMA and it's off the bottom of the trend line that I didn't mark it. So you may ask about that one, but I just felt it was too risky, that it was time for a bounce. And I was hoping we'd get a little bounce and then a chance to get in, but it didn't happen. And now, of course, if you took that trade, it would have worked out, but I think you were better off to wait for here, and then you don't have all the risk that you get by trying to enter over here so close to the low of the trading range. Or I'm sorry, not trading range, but so low to the trend channel, that little tight channel that's working down there. So, but let's back out a little bit more, talk about the trades, and then we'll wrap it up for the week. Um, First trade I saw was a second entry long right here. It's also a breakout pullback long. Notice that this is kind of flat and choppy looking, but there is a trend line working up. And we pull back, we get a first entry, pull back, and we get a nice bullish bar on a second entry there. Then it pulls back again. It bounces right off the trend line. This is a first entry, but it's really, I like it because it's right off the trend line, and we just came off the top, and then it's kind of like a reversal bar. Everything's still above the EMA. I went back and forth about whether or not to make this one green because it's a little more aggressive, but I like it. I'm going to just leave it blue. It's real borderline. It could have been considered an aggressive trade because it is a first entry. But when it pulls back and you get that same bounce again, and look how bullish that bar is, you probably didn't get a chance to enter here because it just skipped right over to the next candle. It opened and it never backed up. So if you weren't already in, you probably missed this trade. And if you could add on here, which if you dropped a limit order in there, it pulled back a couple of times real quick before it took off. But I doubt you could get in right there. So if you didn't get in here or here, you probably missed this. But I liked adding on right here. You would have scalped out of this one and not had any runners. But here, if you got in on this one or added on, you had a double set working higher right there, and that was a great trade. Um, then it pulls back. It gives you a second entry long here, but I was a little leery of this here because we had a little bit of overshoot. A lot of times that's when you get the break of your trend line, and so I was a little bit hesitant to enter right there, even on that second bounce. But when you got the third bounce, even though it didn't break lower, look how it tried. You got a new low right here. It tries to go lower once. It tries to go lower twice. The trend line's holding, so that's really acts like a failed second entry short, and I like going long there. And again, it was another nice trade with a runner. And you can see how we're coming up short here, and then we come up short again. We come down, we get a bounce, and then the bottom falls out of it. And a really aggressive trader might have taken a short there. I think it's extremely risky, so I'm not even going to mark it. But it did go higher first and then turn and go out the low side. But everything's still above the EMA. We got a little bit closed below right there. But the fact that we didn't get there both times is hinting that we may go lower. But I think you're better off. I think you would be better off to enter right here, because notice those. Let me draw my line here. I should have it on there for you guys. I'm always preaching about draw your lines, and sometimes I don't draw myself. Um, but you guys should always draw your lines. But notice that support right there, and you tick a little lower and then turn up and then turn back down. So that's like a breakout pullback short. I'm actually going to mark that one green. It's a little bit, it's right into the EMA. It's right into that support. But there, if you're really acute at understanding this and seeing what's going on, you might want to take a trade right there. And really the bottom just fell out of it there. But I think that's a risky trade. Too many times. If that would have ticked higher and then turned down, yeah, I would have liked it, because you'd had a for sure failed second entry long. But it couldn't go higher because the trend line was really, and the resistance. Once it got below, it couldn't get back above it, or the support there became resistance. You just didn't have enough time to think about it, and boom, it was gone. And you actually did have a failed second entry short here. But just as we talked about earlier, it's right into this support, and this is an area where you might expect somewhere between 2108 and 2106. You're looking for a possible bounce, because you're coming back 50 to to 76% area, where you would expect prices to probably bounce if we're going to go higher. And of course, it does bounce right down here, but I liked it when this is like a little, again, like a little breakout pullback short. Look, notice those matching, and it goes lower, comes back, and it comes right off that trend line again, and it actually goes higher and then turns, just goes short right there. Because at this point, you don't really have this support line here. It's not really established. You do have to be aware that that was resistance before, so you might get support there, but you got plenty of room to get out. So I like that trade. And I wasn't surprised at all when it bounced. I was hoping we'd get another leg down like that one right there, but it didn't happen. And it didn't really surprise me that it bounced here either. But I was hoping we'd get that next leg down. But either way, and then you got a first entry short here. It never really broke lower, and then it kind of hesitates and comes up. So this is really technically this is your first entry, but notice how it went higher, went down, and then it went up again, and then went down. So it's like it tried to break. It's like a little, in those triple matching highs. When you get down to the nuts and bolts of price action, that's a double test of this high it went up, went down, went up, and so you really made a double top there. So an aggressive trader might go short there, because that's the first break of that little channel. And there's a good chance you're going to make another new low right there. And then it bounces. It makes a double bottom here and bounces. Then it makes that little failed second entry short and turns up right there. And look at that bullish bar. It opened on its very low, closed on its very high. That's a very positive sign. You bounced here now 3 times. Just go long right there. And again, this is where I was hoping we might get another leg like this up, but it just gets hung up in here. But notice it tries to go lower twice, and you get another entry right here. You can treat this like a new low. So first entry, second entry, that's a failed second entry short. I went, again, this one was real close to being green because there's a little bit of overlap there. Uh, it's close to these highs up here. But at this point, this was looking more, you're making higher highs and higher lows. And so I really thought we'd push on up. I wasn't sure this line was here yet. Um, but when you turn down here again, you got to know that it's there. But notice what happens. You make a new high, pull back first entry, pull back, and it broke lower below this bar, then turned and went out the upside. Second entry long, right off that. That confirms this trend line. There's your first two swings. That confirms it. Go long there and be ready to exit here if you have to, and you did. And then notice what happens. You got a new low, pull back first entry, pull back. It's like, again, it doesn't go lower, but it's close enough. It is a second entry long right there. I wouldn't have gone long really probably above this bar, but when it tried to go lower again and then turned up, I like going long right there. I probably would use a limit order here because you don't have a whole lot of room here. You don't know that it's going to get through there. So definitely use a limit order. Okay, I had a slight interruption there. So I think we were talking about this trade. Notice the new high, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. Actually, we were talking about this one. And the second entry actually triggered there. If you entered there, you definitely want to use a limit order. This is really a bullish bar. Even though it didn't close right on its high, it could have closed either way. That's just a one tick there. And so it could have gone either way. And so that's really you could go long right above that bar. But I'd probably use a limit order. But when this bar took off again after this one turned down, it's like a failed second entry short almost. And again, you'd probably use a limit order even if you entered there because you're getting so close to the high. And you want to make sure you got room to get out because you don't know that it's going to go through there like that. It may touch just like this and turn back down again. So you got to make sure you got room. Remember that. I'll see people do that. They'll wait till here and enter. And even though that worked, that's a no-no because if it does touch and turn down, you don't have room to get out. You're going to be getting in. You're way too late here because the second entry really triggered back down here. So make sure you remember that. But look how the next bar closed on its high and it opened right there and took off again. So that's a pretty bullish sign. And then finally, you had all this resistance across here. This was previously support as well early on, and it was resistance right there. And it's a double top here. So this is like a failed breakout. There really was a second entry short right here. But you want to wait for a trap for it to break higher and then look at that big bearish bar. This is right into the 2 o'clock hour, but there's still enough time and you can go short right there. If it wasn't after 2 o'clock, you definitely want to enter on that one because there's your true failed second entry short. And you know what that means. You're probably headed to the other side. And so if you were still trading, I like that one there, but I didn't mark it. It's after 2 o'clock. So, I mean, I think that trade's almost 2:30 or something. Yeah, I'll see 2:21. You know, if you were still trading, it's a good setup. I like it, even though it's not a great signal bar. It's that trap, and it's right at that resistance right across there. So that would be another good trade there. And that was really it for the day. So that got you in the 2 o'clock hour. Unless it's raining here tomorrow, I'll probably be playing golf in the afternoon, so no chart lesson tomorrow. But I hope you have a good trading day tomorrow. Hope it's been a good week. We'll be back again to do it Monday, again, unless it's raining tomorrow and I'm bored. If I'm here, I'll do a chart lesson. But for the rest of the summer, I'll probably only be doing Monday through Thursday. So once fall hits and it gets dark early and the weather changes, I'll probably go back to 5 days a week. So, but anyway, that's it for today. Probably it for the week. We'll be back to do it again Monday. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.